Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Our lesson today is on FDP conversions, which are actually fraction, decimal, percent conversions, and the basics of probability. Please don't forget to put the date and the page number on these notes. Remember, these notes are acting just like your notebook, so you need to number and date all of them. The date today is February 19th. And off the top of my head, I don't know what the page number is. I'll check for the next video that I do. Okay? Our objective, I remember how to switch between fractions, decimals, and percents, and I understand the basic concept of probability. Okay, so these fraction, decimal, percent conversions we've done previously in the year, but I just need to refresh your memory on it because they become really important in this unit. So, briefly, fractions to decimals, remember F is fractions, D is decimals, you're simply going to divide the numerator by the denominator. So for example, if I have 1 over 6, I'm going to take my calculator, do 1 divided by 6, which is going to give me 0.1666666, which is 0.16 repeating. So fraction to decimal, divide the numerator by the denominator. Decimal to fraction. Oh, by the way, guys, I want you writing these examples down in your notes, okay? Decimal to fraction. Create a fraction by putting the numerator over the correct power of 10. So 10, 100, 1000, etc. And let's take, for example, 0.6. This number here after the decimal, oh, that's confusing you. Create a fraction by putting the decimal part, how about that, over the correct power of 10. So our decimal part in this case is 6. Now how do I find out what the correct power of 10 is? I need to look at my place values. So 6 is in the tenths place, so I put it over 10. If there was a number in the hundredths place, I would put it over 100. So we have 6 over 10, which we can simplify and ends up being 3 over 5. Okay, I did that by dividing the top and the bottom by 2. Moving on, turning a fraction into a percent. First, you have to turn the fraction into a decimal, and then you multiply it by 100. So let's take an example. We'll use 0. What are we going to use here? Let's use 1/2. We would do 1 divided by 2 to turn it into a decimal, which would be 0.5. And then we would multiply it by 100, and that would give us 50%. Sorry for my voice, guys. I'm a little bit sick, and I'm losing my voice. To turn a percent to a fraction, you simply have to put it over 100 and then simplify. So if I have 36%, I take the number part, 36, and put it over 100. And then I would have to simplify that. Both these numbers can be divided by 4. So 36 divided by 4 is 9. 100 divided by 4 is 25. And there's my answer. Last couple, these ones are pretty easy. To turn a percent to a decimal, you just divide by 100. So 42%, I would do 42 divided by 100, and that would give me 0.42, and that would be my decimal. To turn a decimal to a percent, you have to multiply it by 100. So 0.35, you take that times 100, and you get 35%. Okay? So now let's talk about, once we've reviewed these topics, let's talk about the basics of probability. And our question, first of all, is what is probability? Probability is simply the likelihood of something, which we call an event. This is a probability vocabulary word, event, and it's really important that you know it, okay? The likelihood of something, an event, happening. That's all probability is. It's trying to predict what's going to happen. Now, on a very basic level, probability is expressed as a number between 0 and 1. So it could be 0.2. Oopsie. 0.2, or it could be 1/2. Those are both numbers between 0 and 1. 0 means that there is no chance whatsoever of the event happening. It is completely impossible. So, what happened? So an example of this would be, let's see, someone, and you should write this down, surviving underwater cursive works better on here, for 4 hours without a breathing device. Okay, if you're underwater for 4 hours and you don't have a breathing device, you are going to die. So the chance of you surviving for 4 hours is impossible. It would be a probability of 0. Boy, my pen is really awesome today. Sorry, guys, that's horrible. That says someone surviving underwater for 4 hours without a breathing device. Okay, 1 means that the event is definitely going to happen. It is certain to happen. So an example of this might be when you have Mrs. Ott, change that color. When you have Mrs. Ott as a math teacher, you will have to do things her way. That is certain. Okay, there's no way to get around that, right? I'm always going to make you do it my way. Make sure you write that down too, guys, okay? All right, so some other words that we use in describing probability are likely, not likely, equally likely. Those are all probability kind of words. So in your notes, you have this plain old line here, and I want you to write some things on that line. All the way down here at this side, I want you to put a 0, and I want you to write the word impossible. If something has a probability of 0, it is impossible. It is not going to happen. Up here with the probability of 1 is certain. Okay, certain. Right in the middle, we would use a word like equally likely. Okay, an example of equally likely is flipping a coin. When you flip a coin, you are equally likely to get heads as you are to get tails. Okay, write that example down. Right about here in this region, it's not likely. So the probability of something happening is not likely. A good example would be a sunny day in Ohio. All right, that is not a likely event. Usually it's cloudy here. A likely event in this region would be something like Mrs. Ott giving you homework. I pretty much always give you homework, right? That is a likely event. It's not certain because there's some days I don't, but more often than not, I give you homework. So that's a likely event. Okay? So for your reflection question, just 2 simple questions for you. Please type it into Edmodo. You need to convert this fraction to a decimal, and I will give you bonus points on this assignment if you show me the work in your notebook for doing it with lone division. And then simply, what's the likelihood of rolling a normal 6-sided die and landing on a 7? Use one of these probability words to answer that question. Okay? Thanks, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.